Hey guys, this is Rich from Rich City Live, and I want to talk to you about the breaking news that broke last night that actually broke to you guys first. It's unbelievable. And I'm just hearing more and more news come out about this. So Kawhi Leonard, with the one and done in Toronto, gets traded to Toronto for DeMar DeRozan, wins an NBA championship and an MVP in the process. And then apparently it was actually really close. Believe it or not, Toronto almost had Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. This is breaking. That Toronto almost had Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. They almost had them both. But they were putting together a package that included Pascal Siakam and a few other players, draft picks, and they just couldn't get it done. The Clippers ultimately got it done by giving away like 4 years of first-round draft picks and a couple players. I mean, it's pretty crazy what they gave up. But I guess you got to give something to get something. Now they've got two of the best players in the NBA on the same team, Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. And it's breaking news. It's literally everywhere today. Let's see if I can find the report here. It's crazy. So Toronto now is gutted. Toronto lost Kawhi Leonard and they lost Paul George. So it's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. It's breaking news. The news is trending. The LA Clippers, this is from Adrian Wojnarowski. The LA Clippers are making a blockbuster trade for Oklahoma City forward Paul George, clearing the path for free agent Kawhi Leonard to sign with the Clippers a 4-year, $141 million contract, leak sources told ESPN. In an 11th hour move to keep Leonard from partnering with LeBron James and Anthony Davis on the Los Angeles Lakers, the Clippers are trading 4 future unprotected first-round picks, 1 protected first-round pick, and 2 pick swaps to the Thunder to get George, league sources said. The Clippers are sending Oklahoma City their unprotected 2022 pick, 2024 pick, 2026 picks, their unprotected 2021 and protected 2023 first-round picks via Miami, and the rights to swap picks with the Clippers in 2023 and 2025, said league sources. Wow. The Clippers are also sending point guard Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Danilo Gallinari to the Thunder in the deal, league sources said. George and Leonard wanted to play together, and George and his agent Aaron Mintz approached Thunder general manager Sam Presti in recent days and requested a trade, league sources said. Leonard wanted to walk into a championship contender, and he believed George was the co-star he wanted by his side. George could miss the first few weeks of the season as he recovers from shoulder surgery, league sources told ESPN's Ramona Shelburne. With Friday night's additions, Staples Center appears to be the most starry arena in the NBA. Leonard and George versus James and Davis. Leonard had held meetings with 3 teams he planned to sit down with in free agency, sources said. He met with the Clippers, Lakers, and Raptors over the past week, with Toronto receiving the final meeting, league sources said. Leonard's camp essentially tried to buy time, asking the Lakers as late as 9 p.m. Pacific time, midnight Eastern on Friday, to delay the consumption of the Davis trade until as late as Sunday, sources close to the situation told Shelburne. No reason was given for the delay by Leonard's camp, except that the Lakers should do it if they still wanted Leonard to consider him. Wow. The crazy part is I've been reading about this, and the Raptors almost got Leonard and Paul George. Could you imagine if the Raptors got Leonard and Paul George? As fears mounted that the Los Angeles Lakers had pushed to the cusp of creating an unprecedented Big Three, the LA Clippers made a blockbuster trade for Oklahoma City's Paul George and cleared the path for free agent Kawhi Leonard to sign a 4-year, $141 million contract with the Clippers, league sources told ESPN. The Clippers became the last line of defense for the balance of power in the NBA, never mind the franchise's own future. The Clippers had come to believe that without a deal for George, Leonard was preparing to sign with the Lakers and create a Staples Center partnership with LeBron James and Anthony Davis. Had Leonard joined the Lakers, they would have been overwhelming title favorites, and it perhaps would have thrust the Clippers back into franchise's dark ages. Now the Clippers are in Western Conference contention, shoulder to shoulder with the Lakers, as well as the Denver Nuggets, Houston Rockets, Portland Trail Blazers, and Utah Jazz. George and Leonard wanted to play together, and George and his agent, CAA's Aaron Mintz, approached Thunder general manager Sam Presti in recent days and requested a trade, league sources said. Leonard's message to Clippers owner Steve Ballmer and president of basketball operations Lawrence Frank was essentially this: get George and you'll get me. Jose A. Miranda says the Lakers needed to find a good point guard. Yeah, it looks as though the Lakers were close, the Raptors were close, and the Clippers were close. The Raptors almost picked up Paul George and Kawhi. That would have been epic. Before free agency started, the Clippers knew they needed a second star to lure Leonard, but had no idea whom he wanted. The Clippers inquired on deals for Washington's Bradley Beal and New Orleans' Jrue Holiday, but those guards weren't available in trades. Eventually, Leonard made his intentions known to the Clippers, Paul George. To Leonard, the cost was immaterial. He wanted to walk into a championship contender and believed George represented the co-star that he needed to combat James and Davis, sources said. Leonard wanted to play for Doc Rivers, a coach with whom he could feel a kinship that he felt was similar to his relationship with Toronto Raptors president Masai Ujiri, sources said. In the end, Presti made the best of an impossible situation. Despite 2 years left on George's deal, he didn't want a trade demand hanging over his franchise. Still, he'd have more leverage to trade George than he did late Friday night, when there were no limits to the Clippers' desperation to land George and Leonard in one dramatic swoop. Yeah, they gave away a ton. In a wild night of negotiations, Presti leveraged the Clippers and Raptors off each other, preying on the uncertainties of what the other might be willing to give Oklahoma City for the chance to secure Leonard and George, and perhaps the inside track on a championship. Clippers leadership, Ballmer, Frank, and general manager Michael Winger harbored fears that Presti was close to striking a deal with Toronto and would have delivered George to the NBA champions, sources said. Oh, Toronto was this close to picking up Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. Oh. Had Presti been able to strike a deal for George with the Raptors and Leonard was willing to stay, George was believed to be willing to join the Raptors too, sources said. Presti had been willing to pursue a package of Russell Westbrook and George to the Raptors. Could you imagine? Russell Westbrook, Paul George, and Kawhi Leonard to the Raptors? But no talks ever gained traction, sources said. Ujiri and the Raptors GM Bobby Webster had no ability nor inclination to counter the Clippers' offer with a multitude of first-round picks in the middle of the next decade, league sources said. The Raptors could not be looking at adding Westbrook with 4 years and $171 million left on his deal, and George to a team that Leonard still might have parted ways with. Toronto extended itself as far as it could for Leonard, but Ujiri could never be sure that the Thunder even wanted to do a deal with them, and perhaps were just using the Raptors to squeeze more out of the Clippers. Very smart, Ujiri. Ujiri had delivered Leonard everything that he wanted in a franchise: leadership, trust, championship talent, and a medical partnership that preserved and prepared his body. What Ujiri couldn't give Leonard was out of his control: geography, weather, and a chance to return to his Southern California roots, which I told everybody was the reason why he was leaving. In the end, the Clippers' reservoir of draft picks and young players cultivated in the Blake Griffin trade and built on in the flipping of Tobias Harris to Philadelphia gave the Thunder a return that the Raptors couldn't match in trade talks, league sources said. Toronto's pressure was unmistakable. Allow George to get traded to the Clippers and risk Leonard walking into Staples Center arm in arm with George to take on James and Davis. This was a high-stakes game playing out across the league Friday night with the future balance of power hanging. Wow. Epic. From the time that Leonard demanded his trade in San Antonio in 2018, the Clippers believed that they had to get him. Here was a top 5 player with Southern California roots whose personality maybe didn't fit with the bright lights and scrutiny that comes with life as a Laker. The Clippers withstood several significant obstacles on the way to a free agent commitment, including Leonard's title with the Raptors and Lakers' acquisition of Davis. When it was time to make a decision on sacrificing the franchise's long-term future with a historic haul of draft picks, Ballmer felt he had no choice. Leonard wanted George and the Clippers paid an unprecedented price in assets. In the minds of the Clippers decision makers, they were delivering a massive return of assets to Oklahoma City for George and Leonard. Without George, they were losing Leonard to the Lakers, sources said. Now Staples Center is the NBA's epicenter, and the Clippers can walk Leonard and George into downtown Los Angeles and stand shoulder to shoulder with James and Davis. The wildest story on the wildest night of free agency. Wow. I can't believe that Toronto was that close to picking up George and Leonard. Love to know what you guys' opinion is. That's the entire breakdown of the move. Toronto Raptors lose 2019 NBA champion and NBA MVP, most valuable player of the 2019 playoffs, Kawhi Leonard, leaves the Toronto Raptors, joins Paul George in Los Angeles, where the Clippers are now one of the favorites to win the NBA championships, and the Toronto Raptors are now gutted. Not only did they lose Kawhi Leonard, they also lost Danny Green, who signed a 2-year, $30 million contract to play with the LA Lakers. Thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, smash the like button, share the video everywhere, comment down below. Love to know what you think about this. If you're a Toronto fan, how do you feel? Obviously, I'm a Toronto fan. This is terrible news for Toronto fans. If you're an LA Lakers fan, how do you feel? If you're an LA Clippers fan, how do you feel today? Love to know what you guys think. This is Rich from Rich TV Live, and I'm out. Peace.